Let's talk about one of the biggest questions out there. Is it better to be rich or to be a good person? Well, Charles Dickens's Great Expectations dives headfirst into that one. This isn't just some dusty old classic. It's a raw look at ambition, social climbing, and what it really means to be a gentleman. It's a journey that kicks off in a foggy graveyard and takes us right into the messy heart of London society.
And what a start it is. The whole story ignites with one of the most chilling opening scenes ever written. We're in a lonely graveyard with a young orphan named Pip, and this terrifying encounter, well, it completely hijacks the course of his entire life. Everything he's about to become, for good and for bad, it all starts right here, right now.
All right, so let's set the scene for this first part. We're heading out to the misty, kind of spooky marshes of Kent. This is Pip's world, and believe me, his childhood is anything but easy. So, right from the get-go, Pip's life is being tugged in two totally different directions. On the one hand, you've got this brush with the criminal underworld, this scary act of kindness he does for an escaped convict. And on the other, he gets a taste of wealth and status, all thanks to a very strange, decaying mansion called Satis House.
And this is where Pip's whole ambition catches fire. He meets Estella. She's beautiful, yes, but she's also incredibly cold and cruel. And she just tears him down, making him feel common and small and ashamed of who he is. From that moment on, Pip has this one all-consuming obsession. He has to become a gentleman. He thinks it's the only way he'll ever be good enough for her.
So Pip's got this huge dream, but how does it actually start to happen? Well, in this next section, Pip gets his great expectations and his entire world gets flipped upside down.
Can you imagine? One minute, you're a blacksmith's apprentice, probably covered in soot. The next, a serious London lawyer shows up and tells you you're suddenly a man of property. You're rich! And of course, Pip's mind jumps to one conclusion. The money has to be from Miss Havisham, right? It's all part of her grand plan to get him ready for Estella. To him, it makes perfect sense.
This really gets at one of the book's biggest themes, the massive gap between what Pip dreams of and what he actually gets. He pictures London as this amazing, sophisticated paradise, but the reality he finds is, well, it's dirty, it's lonely, and it's full of moral traps. It's like the ultimate Instagram versus reality. And this theme is going to follow him all the way through the story.
So what is this gentility that Pip is chasing so hard? You know, it's not just about having a fat wallet. No, it's a total reinvention. It's about learning to talk the right way, wear the right clothes, know the right people. For Pip, it's the magic key he's convinced will finally unlock Estella's heart.
And when Pip turns 21, he gets an annual income of £500. Now, that was an insane amount of money in the 19th century. But here's the irony. Instead of bringing him happiness, this money pushes him into a life of debt, laziness, and frankly, snobbery. He gets so bad, he even becomes ashamed of Joe, the kindest friend he ever had.
Okay, get ready, because this is where the novel hits you with a seismic shock. Every single thing Pip thought he knew, all his dreams about being chosen by Miss Havisham, it's all about to come crashing down.
This is it. The billion-dollar question that's been humming under the surface this whole time. Every decision Pip has made, every person he's pushed away, has been based on his own answer to this question. And oh man, has he been wrong.
And there it is, the truth. It doesn't come from the rich, respectable lady in the mansion. Nope. The money is from Abel Magwitch, the convict from the graveyard all those years ago. Just a total gut punch.
So here's the story. Magwitch gets shipped off to Australia, works his fingers to the bone, and dedicates his entire life to making a fortune, all for the one kid who ever showed him a scrap of kindness. He literally risks death just to come back and see the gentleman he made. And Pip's reaction? You'd think he'd be grateful, right? No, he's horrified. He's disgusted that his fancy new life is built on what he sees as dirty, criminal money.
This right here gets to the absolute core of what Dickens is critiquing about his society. I mean, think about it. Why is Miss Havisham's money, which she just inherited from a brewery, seen as pure and respectable? But Magwitch's fortune, which he actually earned through his own sweat and hard labor, is seen as contaminated. It powerfully exposes the total hypocrisy of the class system. It's not about how you get the money, it's about whether you were born into it.
So after that bombshell, Pip is forced to re-examine everything. His whole world is a lie. And this is where his real journey begins. The long, painful road towards becoming a genuinely good person, not just playing the part of a gentleman. You can literally track Pip's transformation in these 4 stages. He starts at pure repulsion. Then he moves to this grudging sense of duty, like, ugh, I guess I have to help him. But slowly that turns into acceptance. And finally, genuine love. He starts to see the man, not the label. This is the real heart of Pip's redemption.
And just when you think things couldn't get any more tangled, bam! The final piece of the puzzle falls into place. Estella, the very symbol of high-class society, the woman Pip has built his entire life around, is the daughter of the convict he was so disgusted by. The social classes he thought were a million miles apart, turns out they're all tangled up in this one messy, inescapable web.
So in the end, the escape plan fails. Magwitch is caught, and he dies in prison, but not before Pip sits by his side and gives him one last gift, telling him that his daughter, Estella, is alive and well. After that, Pip loses all his money. He hits rock bottom, sick and broke, only to be saved by the simple, unconditional love of Joe, the very man he was so ashamed of and left behind.
But the story doesn't just end there. Oh no. In fact, it leads to one of the most famous debates in all of literature. How is a story like Pip's really supposed to end?
So get this, Dickens wrote one ending, but a friend of his, another novelist, basically told him, Charles, my friend, this is way too sad. The public is going to hate it. So Dickens actually went back and changed it, leaving us with 2 very different versions of what happens to Pip and Estella.
And the difference is huge. The original ending is pretty bittersweet. They meet, they're friendly, but she's moved on and they part ways for good. The end. But the published ending, that one is much more open. They meet in the ruins of their past and walk out into the mist hand in hand. But what does that even mean?
This is the famous last line. Now, on the surface, it sounds hopeful, doesn't it? No shadow of another parting. But wait a minute. This is Pip we're talking about. The guy has spent the entire book dreaming, getting things wrong, and clinging to expectations. Is this final line a fact? Or is it just Pip telling himself another beautiful story he wants to believe?
So I have to ask you, after a whole book about tearing down fantasies and facing harsh truths, which ending feels more real? The one where they accept their separate paths, or the one that gives us that little glimmer of romantic hope?
And that's the brilliant question Dickens leaves us with. Has Pip finally found real happiness with the changes to Stella? Or is the title of the book a warning, and this final, hopeful image is just that, his last, and maybe his greatest, expectation?